and the Constitution of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association Free State Sub-Branch has said. Let me also thank the staff for support given to the community throughout the process, and I thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker.
What does the Honorable Speaker propose?
Honorable Deputy Speaker, I propose that the report as tabled be adopted by the House.
Any discussion? Any objection? Approved. The report of the Committee on Rules and Orders table is adopted by the House. The Honorable Speaker may take the chair.
Honorable members, we proceed to questions for oral reply in terms of Rule 55 to 57, and I've been advised, honorable members, that all the questions have been responded to in writing. Honorable members, we now proceed to motions in terms of Rule 61 to 63, and we go to the second reading debate on votes of appropriation bill in terms of Rule 170. Now we proceed to motions, and the Secretary shall read motion 1.
That the second reading debate on appropriation bill be continued. Premier.
Honorable members, the vote before the House is vote 1. Premier, the Honorable Premier, Mercy Sintombela, may now address the House.
Somebody misled me. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I thought I'm the last one. Okay. Thank you, Honorable. Oh, Jesus. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Deputy Speaker, Honorable members of the Legislature and the Executive Council, mayors, speakers and councillors of our municipalities that are here, Modula Stulo Wandlu Marena, Limarena Kaufela Atenkwano, the Director General and the head of the departments that are here, chairpersons of our public and chief executive officers, leaders of the African National Congress and the Alliance that are here, all our special guests, ladies and gentlemen, Dumelang. Honorable Speaker, pili kitsola pili iriking ke monyetla ona ke lakaletse mo presidente wa rona ya fitileng Tate Jacob Zuma mahlohonono le katleho a birthday ya hae ka jeno ke re happy birthday ibile ke be ke re a phele hantle bophelo ba hae kutlulo ha bo monate. Happy birthday Tate Jacob Zuma. Honorable Speaker, we present this budget speech during one of the most significant months in the history of our country. We meet 2 days after the 29th remembrance of the brutal assassination of one of the leading revolutionaries of our time, Chris Hani, on the 10th of April 1993. We are inspired by the wise words of the longest-serving president of our movement, the ANC President O.R. Tambo, when he said, "The fight of freedom must go on until it is won, until our country is free and happy and peaceful as part of the community of a man." we cannot rest. Unquote. As we will be remembering the 29th anniversary of this death on the 24th of April, we are confident that this budget vote we are presenting today signals a benefiting tribute to the memories of this struggle icon. Honorable Speaker, we are on the move to reconstruct and rebuild the Free State after the damage caused by COVID-19 to every aspect of our lives. The agency to create employment, defeat poverty, and end inequality is now important than ever before. We need to grow the economy, improve the well-being of the people, and deliver quality services. We have no choice. Therefore, collaboration, cohesion, and integration are not the options, but obligations for all of us for the Free State to succeed. And that's exactly what we must do. We are now more serious to fix the damage caused by the COVID-19 in our history and get our province back to its feet again. As we begin to do so, we need to overcome our challenges, build our strengths, and make the most of the opportunities available. As different spheres of the government, political organizations, the private sector, institutions and higher learning, and social partners, we all share a dream of a successful Free State. It is our duty to make it happen. It is all in our hands. It is up to us to make it happen. To reach the greatest heights of our potential and achieve the objectives we have to set for ourselves, the office of the Premier as the center of the provincial government must hold. It is the role of this center to direct the policy imperatives for the whole of the government, provide strategic leadership, drive integrated coordination, and ensure service delivery implementation. And then this year, we are just going to make sure the service diabatu. These functions are centered on the integrated planning, analysis, research, alignment, monitoring, and evaluation. To succeed, the center is shaping a capable, ethical, and developmental state. Honorable Speaker, there is no better way to create jobs, improve the quality of life, enable trade, and attract investment than through infrastructure. It is the role of the Office of the Premier to ensure that infrastructure is the flywheel of our growth and development. This requires us to repurpose our functions and build the necessary capacity. Our work with Infrastructure South Africa to help develop a viable project pipeline for implementation is underway, and indeed is underway. Currently, we are building the necessary project management capacity in government. There is a dedicated technical advisory panel from Infrastructure South Africa to help with the packaging of a provincial infrastructure project for ultimate funding and implementation. Watch the space. But soon as we conclude a memorandum of understanding with the Development Bank of South Africa to create a management unit in the Office of the Premier. This will set in motion infrastructure planning coordination that ensures collective action based on a shared development agenda. Honorable Speaker, the district development model will also guide infrastructure investment and project delivery in the province. This will enhance integrated coordination and implementation of projects. Fedile nako yane ya hore e mong le e mong tla itshebeletsa le mong mo a leng teng. Ha hona hore local government e tla itshebeletsa kwana, district e itshebeletse kwana, province e itshebeletse kwana, nationally e itshebeletse kwana. Re sebetsa mmoho jwale. Re tshwanetse re plane mmoho, re bone tjhelete ya rona mmoho, re ye setjhabeng sa rona ho potlakisa ditshebeletso. Working together with the Department of Cooperative Governance responsible for the model, the Office of the Premier is overseeing the successful implementation of the district development model. The responsibility including enhancing our intergovernmental relations to drive integrated planning and coordination in line with the pillars of the Free State growth and development strategy. The past week presidential Imbizo engagements with communities in our districts were a clear demonstration of this model in action. Re iponetse kaofela le dipaki le lona e baahi hore di minister almost kaofela ha tsona di ne di le teng Free State beke fitileng di ile di districting ka ho fapana ha tsona di bua le setjhaba. Ene ke rata ho leboha setjhaba sa Free State ka mokgwa ba ile ba ba amohela ka teng. Ha ho ka ba ha bana le tshitiso ya letho. Kaofela di political parties were involved, DA, EFF, ANC, MAP 16, everybody was just involved and everybody onasebeleza hore what is it that we can do to make sure that our people in the Free State ba fumantshwa service delivery. Ke ya leboha mme ke ya le saluta ka mokgwa le itshwereng le leng la itshwara ka teng. On Sunday, we watched with interest when President Cyril Ramaphosa directed ministers to respond and commit to resolving the issue raised by members. Re iponetse he and ntwe monate ko khutla mmenko sazana santsa ibuletse le ba bang hore ba khutlaneng ba sentse ba khutla ba ya tla fela ba tshepisa ba bile ba entse di date hore ba ya tla ba tla khutla tse ding tsa ba to thusa ho solve di problem tse ding tseo tse ba buileng ka tsona. We are working with municipalities to enhance their capacity to effectively deliver services to the people. Some communities in our township have to travel even 10 kilometers to access services. We will therefore bring services closer to the communities by establishing integrated service delivery centers to provide healthcare, legal support, social and security services. But ba bo rona ka baka la ho hola ha makeishene ha ba sa kgona ho thola service haufinyana o tla fitlela police station hole le batho, clinic hole le batho, so re tlo etsa di services di be haufinyana le setjhaba hore setjhaba se se kebe sa sokola tsotsi di ba kenela ba tshantse ba travel ya hole ba bitsa maponisa re tshantse re tse go di service di be haufinyana le batho. The provincial government has resolved to revoke section 1395A and C of the constitution in Mangaung to enable national government to intervene in this metro by invoking section 1397. Ke a tseba go kaofela rona re baballa Mangaung re rata ke metro ya rona e re na le yona fela ha re tlweleng nationally ke kenelle e tlo re thusa honka masipalo Mangaung wa rona ba tlo tla le batho ba na le di skills ba tlo etsa bonnete ba hore ba khutlisetsa Mangaung mo ileng teng re tla ne re thusane le bona mara now Mangaung e se ile matsong a bona ka di 19 the minister o tla ba le teng mona le ba bang ho tla bua hantle hore ho tla outline hantle hore ba tlo sebetsa jwang. I so wish hore Mangaung itshantse khutlele mo ineleng teng, and I hope all of us and all political parties we must support and make sure that we rebuild our own Mangaung. We will continue to work with national government in enhancing service delivery in Mangaung. We have started during this President Imbizo, and we are not about to stop. Yes, we have started. Immediately after this, we are also going to have our provincial Imbizo. We are not going to stop now. Time is against us. We cannot just fold hands while they are struggling. We must just give our people service delivery. And we are going to do it together all the political parties, we are going to work together and make sure that we improve the service delivery of our people. Integrated policy implementation across the 3 spheres of government will continue to be monitored through the Premier's Coordinating Forum and the President's Coordinating Council. We will still use the cluster system as the layer to link policy priorities and implementation between the 3 spheres of government. Already, the thematic areas of cluster to ensure that priorities inform implementation were central in shaping planning and budgeting during our Lekgotla this year. This cluster planning approach will continue. Ne ke rata cluster bo me mamiki the way bane ba entse ka teng. We will continue to do that. Honorable Speaker, we are seeing the result of a social distance between the government and the people. Bomme le bontate re elelletse hore ho na le gepe e kgolo pakeng tsa government le batho. Ekare ihlile ha re kgone ho buisanang hantle. Ke ka ho re batlang ho etsa bonnete ba hore re qeta bofuma bo jwang re bone ha batho ba protesta. O tsebe ha batho ba protesta ka bongata ba lla ka service delivery, ba lla ka ho hloka ha mosebetsi, ba lla ka ditshila, ba lla ka disurishi, ba lla ka ntho tse sa tsamayeng hantle. Bono ke bopaki ba hore mmuso o so arohane le batho hobane ha o hlalosetse batho hore ho etsahala eng. We must end that thing. Re etse bonnete ba hore re ba haufinyana le setjhaba sa bo rona so that re tlo tseba ho utlwa ditletlebo tsa bona nako le nako and re etse bonnete ba hore re ya di solve ditletlebo tsa bona. Re se ke ra di utlwa fela ha qeta ho di utlwa be re sa etse letho ka tsona. And here re kopa le di opposition parties any problem o kopanang le yona, please do not hesitate ho tla ho rona ho tla re bolella hore ho na le mathata, so that we must now start working for our people. These are the results of lack of integrated coordination, alignment of strategic priorities, integrated planning approaches, and budgeting processes, including monitoring and evaluation. This year, we are going to have to improve in our monitoring. Ha ona ntwele ya go tata o tlo go jwetsa fela mona gore tsela re yentse re skolo se auwe eng yentse jwang. The monitoring is going to be very strong. We are going to make sure hore re lo checka hore ntho tseo di etsaetse na ebile we ourselves we are going to make sure, because re tla itlela fela re iketsetse operation thuso to make sure hore those things are there. Hobane jwale ka nako nngwe re bolellwa dintho ati dintho ha di a etsahala. In addressing service delivery challenges and growing the economy, the process to the sign a social compact with social partners has started. The social compact will deepen the partnership between government and communities. This will also specify the role each partner will play in ensuring the development of the Free State. We restate our commitment to provide quality service delivery by establishing a service delivery technical team, which is made of civil and electoral engineers, quantity surveyors, town planners, and ICT specialists in the Premier's office by July this year. He batho ba modimo ke kgathetse le nna ke gola ke hlalositse a ke batla this team, so that when the MECs said the road tsela di etsahetse sekolo se etsahetse, I must be able to have my team that are going to make sure to go and check where indeed the schools are being built, and also to check for the quality that school. Then they must come and report back to me to say indeed skolo sena se hantle, quality ya teng e hantle, tsela tsena e hantle, quality ya teng e hantle. So professional people who understand exactly what is happening. Ke tlo tseba ho ikarabella ka ntho ke tsebang, otherwise ke tla chargewa le nna ho thwe o nontso le kae ha ntho tsena di etsahala. So I am trying to make sure hore re fa batho ba bo rona ntho tse ileng hantle. This will strengthen the capacity of municipalities to operate and maintain critical infrastructure essential for service delivery. Honorable Speaker, the community development workers will continue to be change agents and representative of the voices of communities at ward level. The Batho Pele principles are the most important values that power our democracy. We serve at the behest of the people. The community development workers, more lilinte, you must know that Silimon Sena, Nagoya Bogoko, ifitile. Immediately after this, we are going to have a 2-day indaba to plan what is it now that we can do to fast track the service delivery to our people. In 2021 financial year, we received 4,235 calls on our presidential hotline. One of these calls, 4,137 complaints were resolved. This is a demonstration of our commitment to resolve service delivery challenges. Improving accountability, transparency, and efficiency is also important in combating and exposing acts of corruption in government. Not only does corruption deprive the people of their livelihoods, but also worsen unemployment, poverty, and inequality. Implementation of the fraud prevention and detection plan will be intensified to instill professional and ethical conduct. Each year, we will ensure full compliance with financial disclosure in government. Lifestyle audit. Bao sa tsebeng ba gola bokana mara o bona bana le ntho tse ngata fela o ipotse go batho bana koloi tse 15 ba di gona jwang matlo a 100 ba di gona jwang. At least we have heard from now lifestyle audits are now compulsory for the public servants. All those who visibly live beyond their means will have to account for their unexplained high standards of living. And again, this year, vetting is going to happen. Vetting from all HODs, vetting from all supply chain managers, vetting from all CFO, etc., etc. All of us, vetting, including Lidi Maspali. Working with the Public Service Commission, we will also refer cases of officials conducting business with government to law enforcement agencies. We reinstate our commitment to improve audit outcome of the Office of the Premier to ensure sound financial management. All efforts will be made to prevent irregular, fruitless, and wasteful expenditure. But here, it's very difficult, but I can say it, this year in the Free State, not even a single department, a disclaimer. It shows we will work with the Office of the Auditor General to achieve these objectives and implement our audit action plan. We will continue to pay our suppliers within the stipulated 30 days to stimulate economic growth. Risk that harm service delivery will be identified and measured, put in place to mitigate them. Honorable Speaker, no ethical and developmental state will be realized without the necessary capacity. We need skills to develop and grow the Free State. The Office of the Premier will host a seminar, Management in Daba, in September to deliberate on this very important topic, which is the number one priority of government. We are already taking bold steps in building the capacity of the provincial government, as indicated in the State of the Province address, where 50 of our officials are undergoing are busy now undergoing the recognition of prior learning to obtain a national diploma in public administration. I wish Likaya Lababona, excitement Yabona, energy Banalignona, 149 unemployment youth completed their public administration learnership program. We were central in ensuring work placement for 314 youth, and that's what has happened. The Merit-Seater program worth 42,100,000 rand to offer 650 learners in various skills is now in a procurement stage. And please, we must start also, all of us as members, to start to identify and ask municipalities to identify our youth in the Free State. Please, let's concentrate from our youth in the Free State, because the high unemployment is here, high Mona Free State. 2003 to N6 TVET colleges graduate are benefiting from the NQF Level 5 Building Inspectorate Program offered by LG-SETA in collaboration with the Central University of Technology. The Central University of Technology, in partnership with the NHBRC, is training 695 students in NQF Level 7. It's a pity, they are here, some of them, with us, those students, but please, you can just bring any child that you know, but those children, they do have some qualification. 480 learners are enrolled in trade test program to register as artisans. I think all members, we must Muteo College. We must have a day and have a tour to go to Muteo Artisan College, and just to go there to pride ourselves and see what is it that those teachers are doing there, and go and see the pride of the Free State. We must have a day. We have almost 20,000 students that are there and 600 teachers that are there. I think but Free State is trying to do the best. And it has impressed so many ministers. Even President himself was very much impressed. On the 753 students studying locally, 119 have completed their studies and 181 are awaiting their results. 311 students are studying internationally as we scale down on the program. We have also allocated additional of 150 local bursaries this financial year. And I will say, all the students that all the students that belong to 100, those receive those top students, hele bursaries kry. Elke een wat nog nie sê of hy die bursaries gekry nie, moet in my kantoor kom. Ek sal hulle help. Almal van hulle wet en swart. Hulle moet hulle bursaries kry. It is our duty to ensure that all foreign qualified students are registered with the relevant boards and councils. Recently, the court has directed that foreign qualified doctors can write the Health Professionals Council of South Africa's board exam before they can undergo internship and community health services. The South African Qualification Authority has assessed the foreign qualifications of our engineering students, and we found to be equivalent to our local engineering qualifications. We will enhance international cooperation with provinces in other countries, focusing on Africa and the world. Our interest will be on economic relations for the growth and development of the Free State. In this age of knowledge economy, ICT is the catalyst for growth and development. In government, ICT enhances efficiency, transparency, accountability, and innovation for improved service delivery. To demonstrate our desire to provide a digitally led ecosystem We will co-host the second provincial Fourth Industrial Revolution System later this year together with the Central University of Technology. The theme of this system is accelerating economic growth and development of the Free State through innovative 4IR technologies for eradicating poverty and unemployment. That is the theme of this year. Following the successful launch of the Botshabelo Digital Hub, and I'm still saying Chief Whip, in fact, all Chief Whips make a day with the legislature, visit the Botshabelo Digital Hub. Please make a tour and visit the Botshabelo Digital Hub. We will partner with MTN to launch an intercontinental hackathon and an application development program. In fact, you will see what is going to happen there. I'm even having a present for you. I'm going to give it to you immediately after this. Then you'll see where Free State is really moving. It's moving and moving very fast. Measures to improve ICT infrastructure as a contributor to building our desired development state have started. This will strengthen governments and help improve service delivery in government. We will increase the capacity of our state law advisors to deal with the rising number of litigation against government. Honorable Speaker, because we are spending a lot of money there, but to have a side musebetsi fela ha ona le mathata fela re ba ya hai ba ya re tshwarisa ke mehlolo ke in and out, but hey, we will do something about it. Honorable Speaker, the lack of gender equality and women empowerment in our society is another factor that drives violence against women and children. We condemn the recent brutal rape and murder of a school girl, 15 years, money Namahadi. Mo motho a ileng a nka bana ba babedi a fa mo mogotsi wa hae ha qeta a mo reipa empa mogotsi wa tjhe a hana mo reipa yena ha qeta a ba lo bothulantsha hlohong ene ngwana eo ka bo madimabe wa 15 years after 5 days a hlokahala. But ntho e swabisitseng ke hore sekeleme seo se ile sa tshwarwa ha se qeta sa tswa tronkong MEC William hwathwe ha o sana motho a bulang case hobane mofu hlokahetse. So sekweleme se ntse se matha hohle mona ngwana motho o hlokahetse. Re tshantse re emeng ka maoto hore ngwana motho eo a kgutlele tronkong hobane o bulaile ngwana motho. I'm also disturbed by the shocking rape and burning of a young woman in Clocolan. That is bad. And I'm happy that the suspect has been arrested. And I'm very much excited about the good work that the social workers for Hofa Lapaleo counseling. The rest of his life. Hauna mutaka chisa motu, amu chise mmele, amu chise li di private party, ha qeta ba mo reipa, amu chisitse. Ke bo phofolo bo tshabeileng bo. Ke bua ka tseno tse pedi fela, but we must fight together this thing of gender-based violence. It is increasing. Ke ka ho re tsantsweng re increase hore re be na le special batho di lawyers tse shebaneng le bona fela. We will strongly drive the implementation and monitoring of the National Strategic Plan on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide. Our coordinators will continue to ensure gender equality and women empowerment programs are implemented. Equally, we will increase awareness campaign and emphasize the damaging affected of violence against women, children, and members of the LGBTQI plus community. And we are planning to have a coordinator, appoint one coordinator of LGBTQI, so that Lebona, Rete Bonito, the Tokotabona, Dia Tsibisahala, we are going to check out ba free mona the government thing, ho sebediswa di-toilet tse ba di batlang, le bona hobane le bona ba bolawa ka bongata, ba be na le a coordinator e tla sheba ditlhoko tsa bona across the province. Remember, le bona ke batho ba tshwana le batho ba bang, re tshwantswe re ba hlokomele. We are concerned about the low levels of gender-based violence cases that get to be prosecuted. We will increase our capacity to support women by working together with the police and the judiciary to fast-track the resolution of gender-based violence-related cases. La bomme li lile haholo le mfounetse hore ka nnete di cases tsena ha ona mo di yang teng. Ba bolawa di case di a kena, batho ha ba tshwarwe ke moferefere fela, because ke tseba le ka bontate ba bang ba babedi wa Sosolo wa Velpomo mo bana ba bona ba bolauweng empa ha o so tshware batho. Bontate bana ba bile ba robetse hona jwale ba tshwere ke stroke hobane ditsotsi ntse di feta malepeng a bona. Re tla etsa bonnete ba hore re itholla le rona diagente tsa rona di-officing ba tla sebetsa directly le lona ba tlo tseba hore ba le checkele di cases tsa lona. Re tla etsa testimony e tla kenya agente, e kenye social worker, e kenye leponisa, e be bona ba etsang follow up di cases tsa lona hobane re a bona hore e ka re di fella. We will host an in-depth with religious leaders to discuss their contribution in the fight against gender-based violence. And see how we are committed to ensuring the protection of the rights of a person with disabilities, ongoing work to create opportunities for people with disabilities and integrated them in every aspect of their life. Jesus Christ. We want to say it again that the future belongs to the youth. It is our responsibility to support their development, stimulate their creativity, nurture their skills, create opportunities, and guide them through life. District youth coordinators have been appointed to strengthen our advocacy and coordination for youth empowerment program. This one we cannot even discuss. It's a must. We have to empower our young people. Remember, Free State is a youthful province. It's a pity life against art. Honorable Premier, Honorable Speaker, I now present the budget of the Office of the Premier as follows: 110,043,000 rand has been allocated in Program 1. Program 2 has been allocated 347,811,000 rand. 76,966,000 rand has been allocated to Program 3. Program 4 has been allocated 154,022,000 rand. Honorable Speaker, this budget reflects the economic challenges facing the country. We have to do more with less to meet the increasing needs of our people. But even under this difficult economic condition, a lot has been done, but we all do know that a lot more still need to be done. To this, we need effective, dedicated, and hardworking civil servants. We need systems that enhance effective performance. We also need to make sure each cent we use goes to service delivery. Our deeds will be reflected in our action and not only words. And I want to say it very clear. This is the year of implementation, nothing else. If we are not prepared to do what we are supposed to do, please, allow me to extend my gratitude to Ntate Radiko Ntsana, the staff, for their hard work, and also the chairperson of the committee, Ntate Mashinini, and the members of the committee, and my colleagues, and to all members of Parliament. It is not easy, but let us not lose hope. God bless you.
Honorable members, we I'm now going to call Honorable Mashinini, the chairperson of the committee, to come and open the debate. But before, I would also like to remind the House that the debate today is a general debate. Thank you, honorable members.
Thank you very much, Speaker of the Free State Legislature, the Deputy Speaker, the Premier of the province, members of the Executive Council present here today, members of the Legislature, Executive Mayors present here today, Director General of the Office of the Premier and also all the departments, HOD present here today of Treasury, all senior leaders, officials, Marena, the Marenana Arona, Aiba Freystata distinguished guest, Molweni Sanbonani. Goeiemorgen, good morning. Absheni dumelang. Yeah, Absheni. Got 11 languages, official. We talk all of them. Speaker, let me also wish Ubaba Ngamalala Mhlanganyelwa Jacob Zuma happy birthday. May the Almighty open many, many more years for him. Speaker, we meet again today in this budget vote of the Office of the Premier during this month of April. We will keep on reminding the people of South Africa and the Free State about our past, because our past informs us about our future. This is the month of the Heroes Month, and I want to indicate that it is exactly 43 years since the death of Solomon Kalushi Mahlangu, young lion, a revolutionary member of Umkhonto weSizwe, who was hanged on the 6th April 1979. And again, it is the 29th years since the death of Comrade Chris Thembisile Hani, who was also brutally murdered on the 10th of April 1993, and many others who died before and after. Today we are able to talk about democracy. Let me repeat this one, Premier. Today we are able to speak about democracy because of these fallen heroes and heroines who laid down their lives so that me and you can live together irregardless of race and color. We quite often forget that we are able to stand in podiums like this one because other people died. And Speaker, I say, anyone who continues to look down on Africans in particular and advance racism in this beautiful country is indeed undermining these fallen heroes and heroines. They laid down their lives because they loved this beautiful land. Hence, Kalushi said, and I quote, "Mama," before he was hanged. Now you must know that when a person calls his mother, he's deeply touched. Whether it was Solomon Mahlangu or anyone, but once you call your mama, you must know that that person is deeply touched. He said, and I quote, "Tell my people that I love them, and they must continue to fight. My blood will nourish the tree that will bear the fruits of freedom." Aluta continua, close quote. These words must continue to inspire all of us, because South Africa belongs to all who live in it, black and white. So some people, if you stand in your corner and begin to look down on the other people of this country, you don't understand that many people have died. And some of them even said their blood will nourish the tree of freedom. Very few people can say that. That's why Marx says revolutionary are many, but very few are committed ones. Speaker, today we talk about the budget of the Office of the Premier. I want to remind us here today that the primary mandate of this office is to oversee governance. And I was listening to you attentively, Premier, when you articulate the responsibility of the department. I therefore want to start saying, as the ANC, we welcome the budget of the Office of the Premier as tabled by the Premier himself. Speaker, allow me to talk about the following work, amongst others, reflected by the Department of the Premier during this current financial year. I'm going to hint on 4 issues. The first one that the Premier spoke about is the service center established in the province. 2, integrated planning of governance for cohesive governance. 3, lifestyle audit. And lastly, professionalizing the public service. I want to speak about those 4. Make an emphasis to them. Number 1, Service Delivery Center. Premier, spot on. You cannot have an improved service when you don't have a monitoring mechanism. You cannot have an improved life of our communities if you don't have a center that focuses on that. This center that you are indicated that you will be establishing it is to ensure that the service is rendered to our people. Let me remind you, our people want nothing else but an improved service delivery. So you are spot on to say, let's create the service centers that ensure that the work is happening. By the way, we at all times get criticized and say, you do have nice, beautiful policies, but your weakness is to implement. And I think this center seeks to address exactly that particular point. And further to that, it's not going to be only the Office of the Premier that will be operating. You said so in these centers. It will be an integrated approach. What do you mean by that? Integrated approach meaning departments, qualified people will serve into that. And you are right by saying we need people that are able to can give a qualitative advice. People that will give the government an experience that is based on proper education and skilled in that particular regard. So this leg of integrated service delivery center will assist the Free State to move forward. 2, you approach the service centers in an integrated manner. Now integrated, integrated, it means how sebetsi ulimung usebetsa le mafapha ka kopanelo. And I'm happy to hear that. It's not going to be only the office. Don't say he said he's going to do. She said we are going to do this thing together. And he made mention of the Department of Social Development and the Department of Health. Why? We are in this particular era whereby unemployment, poverty, and inequality is dominant factor. And therefore, the social development is at the center. 2, health, it's also critical to be part of that, plus including some qualified people within our own province. And I think I'm happy about that. 3, lifestyle audit. Whether you are rata kapa re rate, a re tlohelleng ho iphapanya hore the best way to go up economically, leather and life is through in the corners. Ufumantsele, you are correct. O mo fa tšhelete kana gobane ke a tseba wena wa di tseba di salary tsena tsa batho. O mo fa tšhelete kana ha a qeta ntate o phela bophelo bo ka hodimo. E phuma pele o mali. And this matter speaks to your conscience and say, wherever I am sitting, I am a beneficiary on what has been said. Bazolana batla ubulela bare chincha mzalwana. That's what you have to do, because time is not on your side. And begin to do that. So lifestyle audit, it's going to be a focus area. Super. Agree with that. And spot on. Professionalizing the public service. When I to a professionalizer, it means that you want to make sure that you improve the service qualitatively. Which one of the professionalism that is required. Service, but to pay the principle becomes the key. That's what you need to do, because our people needs that respect, and that's why they have said, please go out there and lead us. So the issue of professionalizing, I want also to echo to say, it's a step towards the right direction. If you want to improve as government, you cannot render a qualitative service without being professional. So it's critical that our services must be professionalized. As the African National Congress, as I conclude, we welcome this budget vote and support you, Speaker. Thank you very much.
Honorable Clinton, you may address the House.
Thank you, Speaker. I think we are all very thankful for the rain. I can report today that all portals are 80% full. Premier, thank you for the clarity on the bursaries, but you know, I'd really hope that we wouldn't hear the words Operation Flasela again. And we see it popping up in the monitoring and evaluation program of the Premier's office. See, the devil is down. As Amir mentioned, the program aims, amongst others, and I quote, to manage and coordinate the Free State integrated service delivery through Operation Flasela. How odd, because this operation was part of the testimony before the Zondo Commission and how the former Premier went around the province promising money and honey and milk. And we all know how that ended. Now the real question is, why is the Office of the Premier duplicating community development workers to the amount of 97 million rand, whilst it is the function of municipalities. Do you not trust municipalities, Premier? The reality is I wouldn't either. I mean, have you read the news lately? But we can't duplicate functions of municipalities. And then we hear about promises of Imbizos and Indabas and summits and service delivery centres and now a service delivery technical team by July this year. Now, according to the Premier, this will strengthen the capacity of municipalities to operate and maintain critical infrastructure essential for service delivery. But Speaker, when we talk about infrastructure, I think we all agree on this is actually necessary. For too long, government has neglected infrastructure. But here's a catch, Speaker. These engineers and surveyors and town planners and specialists that will make up this team should be in every municipality in the province. But our municipalities cannot afford them anymore, or they can afford them, but they can't manage them properly, and here we are. Premier, we want to work with you. But your answer to everything and the problem is centralisation. Centralisation takes services further away from residents. Centralising is actually the ANC's way of admitting their failure on one level and passing that problem to another. This is what the district development model is. Just another confession that municipalities have failed and now the burden will be on the next level to fix it. We have 3 spheres of government, Premier, not 4. Speaker, to you, where are the district development model political champions, the MECs and the ministers and deputy ministers, Premier? Was it those champions that were here last week? You know, that was quite a lot of champions for one metro. You said it, Kaufela, for one metro. But the next question is even more significant. These so-called DDM champions, which legislative body or committee do they answer to?
Thank you, Honourable Klute, your time has expired. Honourable members, allow me to tell the Speaker on the podium when their time has expired. Honourable MEC Bulwan.
Leboe motsamaiso wa dipuisano go tona kgolo go ditho tsa executive go maloko a lekgotla la ketso ya melao, Director General le bohle ba mopotapotileng go setjhaba ka kakaretso, bomma ditaba le boraditaba, manene na manenekazi. Honorable Speaker, firstly let me welcome the budget vote. And we should understand when we are dealing with youth development, education is at the center of youth empowerment and it's a key to eradication of illiteracy. Furthermore, it is a driver for the youth to fulfill their future careers and business aspirations. Young people across the length and breadth of the province are faced with multiple challenges such as unemployment, inequality in various forms of poverty, digital-led ownership inequalities, access to free education and equality education, etc. Also, as a country, we are confronted by a situation where the gap between the youth seeking employment and employment opportunity continues to widen. The Stats SSA has further indicated that the rate has grown up from 34% to 35%, and the Free State is leading, Honourable Premier, in the youth unemployment, and it must be a concern. In an attempt to resolve socio-economic and political challenges that confront young people we must first ask ourselves, does a bourgeoisie or a capitalist society support the development of young people, or it's just a continuation of exploitation? Even though it is arguable that education increases the chances of one to be successful and life expectancy, the commodification of education remains a problem which excludes those with no means, and this untransformed curriculum that does not speak to the national development imperatives but drives the agenda classes. Let me qualify this by the book I once read, Premier, The ABC of Communism, which states, and I want to quote it, in a bourgeoisie society, the school has three principal tasks to fulfill. Firstly, it inspires the incoming generation of workers with devotion and respect of the capitalist regime. Secondly, it creates from the young of the ruling classes cultural control of the working population. Thirdly, it assists capitalist productions in the application of science technique, thus increase capitalist profits. And I close quote. Therefore, we should grasp the youth development and education are intertwined with a political program that must be carried out to ensure that the child of the waking does not just become a prominent of a capitalist system, but an advocacy of a change of a mode of production. From this, it is evident that some of the challenges young people are faced with despite apartheid colonial regime effects are this issue around the mode of production. We continue to note these increases, expansion on access to previous disadvantaged, marginalized at higher education institutions. This happened because of the implementation of the ANC policies. The Freedom Charter that was adopted by the people from all walks of life, gathered in Kliptown in 1955, is revolutionary and important of youth development and education, as it stated. I quote, "Education shall be free, compulsory, universal, and equal for all children. Higher education and technical training shall be open to all by means of state allowances, scholarship awarded on the basis of merit," close quote. Honorable Speaker, the budget tabled by the Premier, we support it because it talks to the Freedom Charter, and we see this from the following. 149 unemployed youth that completed their public administration learnership program, and the department played a critical role in their workplace for 114 youth. The MER-SETA program, worth 42.1 million to offer 650 learners in various skills, which is at the procurement stage. The 2003 to N6 TVET college graduates that are benefiting from the NQ Level 5 Building Inspectorate program offered by LG-SETA in collaboration with the Central University of Technology. The Central University of Technology and NHBRC training of 695 students in the NQ Level 7. The 480 apprentices that are enrolled in trade test program to register as artisan. The 453 students studying nationally and the 311 studying internationally benefiting from the bursary program, including the committed education of additional 120 local bursary in this financial year. We have witnessed more than 4,000 young people spread across the different fields benefiting from the ANC-led government to better their lives and their careers. We accept a huge number of women that are studying in the field of their choice in the higher educations. This progress given made despite their troubled oppression that were faced with in the past. It is with continued effort and progress made in empowering youth that we can say in confidence that a lot has happened, a lot continue to happen, and a lot will continue to happen. The continuous investment in youth development, ensuring that the trained youth find opportunities in the mainstream economy activities, has the potential to grow our economy and change the socio-economic status of the young people. As a province, we continue to take pride in our students who are dispersed in different countries to be trained and skilled. We understand that they are studying abroad is calculated with an opportunity of learning different education style, cultures and tradition. We accept the assessment by the South African Qualification Authority on an engineering student that their qualifications are equivalent to the ones of the engineers here in the South Africa. The number of higher institutions in the country provides limited space for young people to enroll, become doctors. If you go to the university, there's a number that is required, but this taking the outside premier has shown leadership, and then you must continue that program. Therefore, the enrollment of students abroad in doctors' profession by the Free State government must be commended, and it's a move beyond the capacity issue in our institution. We accept the direction by the court that the foreign qualification doctors can write the Health Professional Council of South Africa board exam before they can undergo internship and community health services. This dispels the notion of narrow, inward-looking persons who have appointed themselves as authorities, institutions, and held subjective anti-developmental view against the students who have obtained their training abroad. That the democratic government demonstrates progress on all fronts despite the apartheid colonial regime effect that we are still faced today. All of us represent here is entrenched in the South African Constitution preamble. We recognize the injustice of our past and also commit to build a united democratic South Africa able to take its rightful place as a sovereign state in the family of the nation. Therefore, we are tabling this budget vote. We expect those sitting on the opposition bench, as per the democratic election outcomes, we work from the understanding of the preamble of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, that the Honorable Jungle said, which at the core of it is to readdress the injustice that were committed in the past, and as much as we believe that you recognize them too. You should also understand that it won't be achieved overnight. We support this budget vote tabled by the Honorable Premier because it contributed to readdressing the injustice that were committed against our people. We furthermore, it speaks directly to the challenges the society is confronted with and to skill revolution, including redressing the triple challenges which are unemployed, inequality, poverty, and until we are all equal. We won't stop talking about what has happened in the past, Honorable Premier. We need to readdress that and deal with those issues. Our society, we owe it not to ourselves standing here, but to the generations to come. And I'm happy, Honorable Mahwe, in your absence. Yesterday, my boy was visited by his friends from school. Black and white were visiting, and I was happy. I said, I wish even in us as adults, Honorable Junkies, we can visit one another. But we don't have any reason to visit one another because we still have a scores to settle the injustice of the past. So we must deal with that legacy for the generations to come. I thank you, Honorable Premier. Please invite him.
Honorable Msimanga. Order.
Honorable Speaker, Premier just said you are Honorable Premier, you must receive.
Order.
Honorable Speaker, Deputy Speaker, Premier, MECs, members of legislature, our distinguished guests, let me take this opportunity to greet you in the name of economic freedom in our lifetime. Madam Premier, calling number of events without proper structures on the ground, it will not assist. We must have structures so that these programs can be carried forward in a sustainable manner. I'm referring to Youth Directorate, that as early as 2019, the Office of the Premier promised that they are going to deliver to young people. Youth Directorate, we are still waiting for that Youth Directorate. One. So today, ke tla ka moya wa kereke, ke tla ka moya wa Paseka. One of the issues that I would want to raise ka moya wa Paseka is that in Maluti ya Phofu, right, after baqeda to remove CFO, what they did ke hore ha ba santsatsile CFO a khutlang ka lona 59 million ke ha itswile. So seriti se balile ka tšhelete tsa setšhaba ko Maluti ya Phofu. Kopa Premier, I've been talking to the MEC COGTA to implement Section 106 in Maluti. We have mapped water for the past 5 years. We don't know, they are not reporting, they are not submitting AFS reports. So that is not enough with this bandagapa color map water without attending to issues of investigation. We need to know why map water. Let me just quote Lenin on state, because we are contesting direction that state takes. Lenin says, state is a product of irreconcilability of class contradictions or class antagonisms. He goes further to say, state is an instrument of class suppression. So, how our state is a product of irreconcilability of class antagonisms. He simply says state, its existence, it derives its existence out of class contradictions that exist here in South Africa between white monopoly capital and black working class. Of course, us included, because we don't own means of production. So, that state, Lenin goes further to say it's an instrument of class suppression because the dominant class use the state to dictate the direction, form, and content that the state is taking. So as EFF, we are here to contest state power, to contest the direction, the form, and the content that the state is taking moving forward. So in so doing, Madam Premier, we are saying it's not enough to come with economic programs without fundamentally restructuring property relations. Because if we are not going to do that, our people are going to remain hungry, they are going to remain landless in their land of their own. So it needs to be attended to in a proper manner, the issue that I'm raising. But amongst other things is that we are saying we must decisively, like we are saying, deal with corruption. So kamoya wa kereke har attending issue ya Maluti ya Phofu santsane lo se. That's what I'm saying. Moving forward, I'm saying all these municipalities, it's a Free State, where the Department of COGTA has intervened, the situation has moved from bad to worse. This intervention committee team, Eli Rumelang, well, all over. Madam Premier, city asset, the asset, but one mobile fishing team by a senior, the total signal, so we need to change that team because it's not assisting. Ulukisama M, a Free Starter, where Agamho Alengati. So we need to attend to some of those issues. But amongst other things, Madam Premier, that I think we must attend to, you spoke about issues of gender. You spoke about what is happening on farms. Who are saying, through the powers vested in you, please let us establish a commission that will look into the living conditions of workers. Because when you go there, situation is that so batho ba borona ba ya bolawa, batho ba borona ba nkelwa dikgomo, batho ba borona ba ntshuwa mo ba dulang. Re ke etse mohlala. There's an old woman, a matriarch, there in Malutia Phofung, who was born in 1600s. The lady Kalibitso ke Matimati. And then generations after generations, isalinse di pillar plus nye ba ibitsang ke Aberfield. But I'm telling you, other white people ba fihlile mate ntsa dula mo, generations after generations, ba thola batho ba leloko la mate ba ntse ba phela mo. But hona jwale, they are chasing them out. So whoever who's dealing with agriculture, whoever Premier with the powers vested in you, please let's intervene, not only in that situation but all over. But to come up plasing, I can tell you that you reads a lenga tunwa. Uduma tunzwen that you otabo report a case or tunzo because of Luza Musevits. That's how bad situation it is. Come up plasing over to Moba Pilanti. So let's prioritize a commission on living conditions of farm workers. That commission must take Department of Agriculture, Department of Police, Department of Labor, and Department of Land Affairs along, so that we are able to resolve a number of issues that are happening there. Even at the policy front, you resolve on these things, but are not happening at the ground level. So we need to attend to those things much thorough in ensuring that our people indeed bathola bophelo bo botle be re buang ka bona. Hona le la pala ntate Mabizela bana ba teng ba le bathunywa bohloko ke magua ba ba bona ba thola hore ke bullet tse 5 tse different mara o hlaella motho a le mong a reng ke yena a thuntseng hona jwale National Prosecuting Authority ra etse case e belletse ka thoko it's saying batho ba hauna evidence batho ba ene le self defense is self defense ka o tsetse motho ka acid ke self defense ka o thuntse motho ka di bullet tse different from different parts o mo gautse situation is more less bad. Let's attend to those issues, reading more serious. But lastly, Premier, I'm saying it does not make a logical sense to take 312 million to rescue Abu Pass Line and the likes, while failing to rescue Bloemfontein Celtics. That brings economic spin-offs to Free State. I'm saying Bloemfontein Celtics, how true are more Badalali Chiefs? How about true about Kara Free State, the garage, hospitality industry, Bombeba Barekisa mo, Dintombana Lake, the economic spin-offs by the Tolamba to buy it and the Kloko di Saluni. I repeat, there will never be a proper Makufe without Bloemfontein Celtics. If we can pop out 312 million to pass industry, to that transport industry, especially that is dominated by white people, it must come logically perfect to assist Bloemfontein Celtics, which will not even cost 20 million rand. Elongore is one pillar of our economy as Free State citizens. I think it's a logical thing to do, it's a right thing to do, to revive Celtics and help those fans of Bloemfontein Celtics, or revive Celtics. But I'm saying, it's not enough to name after Mama Winnie Branford, and then think road sign Mama Winnie fella Mama Winnie Branford. People will continue to call that place Branford. But not only that, why do we continue to call ourselves Free State? Whose Free State? It was named after whose interest? It was named after the interest of white people. After having Bajaele Bomoshosho Kadikanono, Uloba Kenya Kwakantwa tsa secret. By declare this part they are Free State in Ilele Sotumo. So we need to rename this place, because majority of us, Kiruna di natives, majority of us are black people, the majority of us, we can't call ourselves Free State. But equally, Madam Speaker, this place called Parliament is full of colonial symbols all over. We can't breathe. We are suffocated in this place. So it needs to be properly named. Remove that horse and Rudolf Christiana de Wet. These are part of people who negotiated for Union of South Africa in exclusion of black people. So we must remove that statue uncompromisingly, so a name after our heroines and heroes of our struggle. MEC Magima has this thing, it's a statue sa put face. Mandlebe that beleta statue sa sesinyaninyana segaring itokolosi. Rabatla statue se proper se naming after put face. Felemtu and Mandlebe. Thank you very much.
Honorable MEC Kabati.
Honorable Speaker, Deputy Speaker, Honorable Premier, Honorable members of the legislature and ESCO members, mayors, speakers and councillors, Salga leadership, Dudastuloa, Ntuyamarena, Lamarena Ohe, Baruti, Bohe, leading Akasaseso, the DG, all head of departments, all the employees of government and the legislature, leaders of the ANC and other political parties, our guests in the public gallery and at social media platforms and different radio stations, media houses present, ladies and gentlemen, the Buhlokwa Kaufe. Honorable Member Sanku, I agree with you on that one. It was not enough just to remove the orange from the Free State. We need to look into it. Honorable Premier, you hold your departmental budget vote in a month, which many in the country who know the cruel wrath of the apartheid regime are feeling sad and morose. It is in this month, 6 April 1979, when a youthful life of Solomon Mahlangu ended very brutally. He was taken to Hampa for what? For just demanding freedom and justice for all. His last words when he was being hanged by the apartheid regime, he said, "My blood will nourish the tree that bear the fruits of freedom. And indeed, the budget vote that you have presented, Honorable Premier, that we are supporting is indeed nourishing the tree that bear the fruits of freedom. And yes, it is in this month where we are again reminded of the brutal assassination of Chris Hani on 10 April 1993, a man who was fighting for freedom, social justice, and peace. To prove that he was a man of peace, this is what he said in one of his addresses. What we need in South Africa is for the egos to be suppressed in favor of peace. He further said, we need to create a new breed of South Africans who love their country and love everybody, irrespective of color. And yes, Honorable Member Bulan, it can be achieved that South Africa only if batswadi ba bana ba ka tlohela lehloyo le ka hare ho dipelo tsa bona, ba bona a future that is united and not knowing any color. Speaker, we have forgiven, but we have not yet forgotten, because the wounds are still gaping. What makes the wounds to still be gaping is because of the attitude of the Freedom Front and the DA for not suppressing their ego in favor of peace. So I know Chakela, Honorable Member Junkerson, what does haba o Chakela? King Eklaiza Ashabe is because he knows that the wounds are still gaping. The wounds are still gaping because 92% of the land is still in the hands of the killers of Solomon Mahlangu and Chris Hani. Hence, we are struggling to give size and build houses. The wounds are still gaping because poverty and inequalities are still according to the racial lines, advantaging the killers of both Hani and Solomon Mahlangu. So sikole kanjani thi? Sikole kanjani? Can the wounds heal when the attitude of both the DA and the Freedom Front is an increased arrogance and are pushing back the gains of democracy in an arrogant manner, instead of suppressing their egos for peace sake? No, their arrogance has increased. Their attitude does not say, we are sorry, Pepi, Yobe, Shwe. Premier, let me thank you from the bottom of my heart for you to work so hard in trying to build a new breed of South Africans who love their country and love everybody irrespective of color. The interventions in your office are across the racial line, as you have said. Thank you, Premier, to allow yourself that Chris Hani should live through you by fighting for social justice for all. More importantly, the vulnerable, children, women, the elderly, people with disabilities, and the LGBTQI community. We appreciate that you have appointed district gender coordinators to support the victims of abuse, rape, and killings, and help to fight gender-based violence. We also appreciate your commitment to drive the implementation and monitoring of the National Strategic Plan on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide. Thank you, Premier, for seeing the need to appoint a lawyer in your office to strengthen the office to respond effectively in advancing both the office and the vulnerable groups. We are happy that you will also be appointing a social worker who will be closer to need for rapid response psychosocial support. As a mother who cares, my plea to you is that you encourage all other departments and municipalities to do same. We appreciate and are looking forward to the employee wellness endeavor to improve on the wellness of employees, particularly after our employees have lost so many colleagues and their loved ones due to COVID. This will boost the emotional well-being of government employees, and it's only a caring leader who can do that. Premier, we are so proud of you because this will be the first in the country, the appointment of an LGBTQI coordinator who will, amongst others, monitor and advise on making government buildings to be unisexual, particularly areas like the toilets, so that they can be incorporated amongst our communities. You are leading, Premier, in fighting discrimination and killing the stigma. We are looking forward to the endeavor with religious leaders to discuss the contribution in the fight against gender-based violence, to help fight the discrimination and stigma against the LGBTQ, to help build a better image for the men in the Free State who are heads of churches and heads of household. We are proud and happy that you will be able to be in the forefront in uniting social partners on a social compact with our communities. This will also ensure that fair distribution of contributions to all districts is realizable. District ya Karipili ona itlake ilazwe ke hona Premier. We are excited that you will lead talks to create better working relations between police and the judiciary to deal with low levels of successful prosecutions. Premier Mahlatsipa atlake a tobehe moya le dipelo. The Department of Health and Social Development will also be part of these partnerships. I know, Premier, that you are already in talks with the Free State royal houses and the traditional leaders to involve them in the gender-based violence programs, looking at the traditional norms that are trampling on human rights and women and children's rights. Premier, thank you very much for ensuring that Solomon Mahlangu did not die in vain. We thank you for ensuring that his blood indeed nourishes the tree that bear the seeds for economic transformation. By monitoring all the department plans on youth and women economic development through 40% public procurement program, muruo hauhute bufuma bufokotse. Premier, ANC ekataba haka swara expo ya basadi le batjha bohle ba atlehileng hobane ba thusitswe ke puso ya Freistata. Re ke re ba bone eseng fela re nne re utlwe ka bona. Ya o leboha Premier wa Dumo ke a tseba hore o tla ietsa. President o tsamaile mona Free State a hlatswile pelo ke coordination ya hao e hlahlwa on the district development model. We are also beginning to see the positive results of EXCO clusters and the district development model because they help to do away with wastage and duplicated resources and duplicated beneficiaries, and we are beginning to do more with the little that we are having. We thank your wisdom in strengthening and monitoring to ensure that people living with disabilities le bona ba thola ditshebeletso tsa mantlha ba thole matlo are compatible to their disabilities. The ANC therefore supports the valid votes and wish you well in your work, Premier. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable MEC. Honorable Jankelson, you may address the House. Members on the gallery, we have noticed the shot of the television there. We are working on it. Our apologies.
Honourable Deputy Speaker, through you, Honourable Premier, honourable members, governments must be instruments of what is good in society. Governments must find common ground between all their citizens and bring people together, ensuring that no one is left behind, realizing the freedom, happiness and peace mentioned in a quote of Oliver Tambo by the Honourable Premier this morning. After 1994, the ANC embarked on a major reconstruction exercise with the RDP. Then came GEAR, as GESA, the NDP and many others. In the first decade and a half of our new democracy, the ANC was on track to implement the vision of the Freedom Charter, namely to change South Africa into a democratic, non-racial, non-sexist and free society. Service delivery of electricity, water, sanitation and housing to previously deprived communities was on track, and the country was flooded with foreign investment and international goodwill. South Africans were united in our diversity, and the ANC thrived in elections. Sadly, the ANC gradually began to transform from a party that promoted the reconstruction and development of all our people in South Africa and the Free State into a party of corruption, state capture and cadre-based self-enrichment. The reconstruction and development program meant to benefit our people was soon replaced by another RDP, namely redirection and down payment, which implies the redirection of funds to cadre cronies and down payment of facilitation fees for tenders. The DA has acknowledged the indignity of apartheid on the majority of our people. That is why we have always said that we must acknowledge our past and work together as a nation to take joint ownership of a better future for all our people. We also acknowledge that our people could be further ahead if ANC politicians had stayed on the Madiba course that our country was on after 1994 and not allowed themselves to become the new economic and political oppressors. How sad that even his funeral, the funeral of Madiba, became a source of looting. Nothing is sacred anymore. That is how struggle heroes are commemorated in South Africa by this current government. The access to state resources and entitlement by ANC cadres were there. It's our turn to eat, and we did not struggle to be poor attitudes soon resulted in state capture, corruption, nepotism, and other forms of glaring abuse. Arrogant ANC cadres have become indifferent to the needs and hopes of residents of towns, settlements, and communities in the country and in the Free State. In 2010, we had 1.62 million people in the Free State living in poverty, which has risen to 1.85 million people in poverty in 2020. This means that 63% of our people in the Free State do not know where their next meal is coming from. The Thabo Mofokeng district poverty levels are as high as 70%. Removing statues and changing names will not put food on the tables of those people. Those are nice things to have if you're able to do it. But our people in the ground want food on the table. Those are must-haves for our people. We agree with the MEC of Kokta, Honourable MEC Dukwana, who indicated during his budget speech that at a municipal level, where the tire hits the tar regarding basic service delivery, that I quote, The bulk of challenges faced by municipalities were caused by years of state capture whose melting pot was the province. Close quote. This province. As an example, he explained, and I quote again, there appears to be a trend towards malicious compliance. For instance, some officials use a procurement rubric to simply tick procedural boxes and not necessarily to extract value for our communities. A bottle of water which you buy for 10 Rand at the stores is sold for 100 Rand to government. I close quote. The people of the province appreciate this type of honesty, but they know that the Dukwanas are a very small minority of leaders in a liberation movement that has been unable to transform into an effective governing party, and as an organization that is suffering from a serious psychological disorder known as cognitive dissonance. During the various departmental debates, ANC speakers have tended to divert attention away from their own party's failures to historical figures like Van Riebeeck. They blame current unemployment, poverty and poor services on our country's history and on white people. All that this is done is to divert attention away from the serious trouble that the ANC in the Free State finds itself in. Instead of debating budgets, the ANC members launched attacks on the opposition, often contradicting each other and even themselves in the same speeches. It is very evident for all to see that the ANC's continuous blaming apartheid for poor services and using the white monopoly capital and critical race theory tactics to explain away the service delivery failures are not working. In 1964, Malcolm X said the following that can be extrapolated to ANC tactics, and I quote, "The only way people would run towards the fox would be if you showed them a wolf. The ANC's foxes have become the current wolves, so they have unsuccessfully tried to conjure up the ghost of Jan van Riebeeck as a bigger wolf than themselves to hide his fat. We must remember that conjuring up the ghost of Jan van Riebeeck has a more sinister racial motive in our current political dispensation, alongside the constant references to white people as murderers and thieves. The ANC literally have no aces left in their political arsenal except the race card. They have become that which they fought against with the same, and in some cases even worse, service delivery outcomes for the people that they claim to be liberating. The ANC regularly quote the Freedom Charter, but this is done selectively. The Freedom Charter states clearly that, and I quote, "All national groups shall have equal rights and that they shall be protected by law against insults to their race and national pride, and that the preaching and practice of national race or colour discrimination and contempt shall be punishable by law, and that all apartheid laws and practices shall be set aside." Close quote. The Freedom Charter. Constant hateful, derogatory and hurtful comments against their fellow citizens by ANC members and MECs are criminal when measured against the intentions of the Freedom Charter. The DA will not fall for this race baiting and continue to expose the ANC for the corrupt, abusive and arrogant organisation that it has become. The DA in the Free State has one intention, and that is to govern, so that the people of the Free State may experience real liberation from unemployment and poverty. The Premier mentioned that we must build on our strengths and make the most of our opportunities that are available. If the voters want opportunity to come knocking in the Free State, they must allow the DA to build the door on which to knock. Only the DA has a track record where government are providing the services and opportunities with pro-poor and pro-opportunity budgets that benefit all our people. The DA, and only the DA, is the doorway to prosperity in the Free State. If they were alive today, I guarantee members of this House that Nelson Mandela, Oliver Tambo, Saul Plaatje, Charlotte Kokretti, Chris Hani, Solomon Mthombo, and many others would be DA members.
Stop with the disruptive comments and allow the speaker to debate freely.
They will look at how the DA's pro-poor budgets in the Western Cape province, in Midvaal, and many other municipalities are benefiting all the people and come to the conclusion that it is the DA that is implementing the vision of the Freedom Charter, and only the DA in South Africa at the moment. Claiming to believe in the Freedom Charter and quoting parts of it in a selective manner. Honourable Speaker, members must open their ears and they are not here to put on their microphones in the Honourable Speaker, claiming to believe in the Freedom Charter and quoting parts of it in a selective manner while ignoring that which contradicts your own ideas of the truth is a serious symptom of cognitive dissonance. Madam Speaker, Medical News today explains cognitive dissonance as a mental conflict that occurs when a person's behaviors and beliefs do not align. In other words, when their brains are not aligned to their voices. In medical terms, cognitive dissonance causes feelings of unease and tension, and people tend to relieve this discomfort by rejecting information that conflicts with their existing beliefs and try to explain things away. The ANC members of this House know that the reasons for poverty, unemployment and inequality in the Free State are due to decades of plundering and looting by ANC cadres, but refuse to accept this reality and try to explain it away by blaming others. A typical example is when the ANC chief whip in this legislature, Honourable Meko, says that you must dislocate history from your thinking and then goes on to blame history for the current ANC-caused service delivery failures. Cognitive dissonance is in the whole province and country. Witness the Zondo Commission state capture hearings daily, like a soap opera, on their television screens, radio, newspapers, and ANC members of this House continue to try and blame apartheid, colonialism, white people for their own malfeasance and delinquency. The ANC in the Free States decline to 51% of votes last year means that our people see through their flawed political arguments. Let me provide some examples of this ridiculous reasoning.
Honourable Speaker, as a parliamentary for an honourable member wants to say that the public don't know anything or Black African people. It's out of order, Honourable Speaker. Can you call it? Thank you.
It's a debate. Proceed, Honourable Johnson.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Why do ANC taxpayers steal taxpayers' money meant for service delivery? Apartheid and colonialism made them do it, according to them in the legislation. Why do ANC cadres steal beneficiaries' money and to create a dairy project alongside their Cookton friends?
Order, Honorable Speaker, on the point of order. Honorable Speaker, is it still parliamentary for a member to refer, saying people are stealing? Does he have the proof that people are stealing? That's out of order, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Chairman, this is a general debate. We allow members debate, but when a member refers specifically to a particular member or individual, that's when it becomes an issue. But I won't be able to control generalization. But when we point out a particular person, that is when we are going to have a problem. Proceed, Honorable Johnson.
Honorable Speaker, he said members of parliament, which members is
I did not hear the part where, sorry, Honorable Johnson, I did not hear the part where he was referring to members of parliament. But on the part of saying people stealing, as long as he doesn't mention an individual, I won't be able to call him to order. But if it's just a general statement, like we are saying, the debate today on previous budget book and that of the Treasury is a general debate. Can debate generally. Proceed, Honorable Johnson.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I did mention the Zondo Commission, and I'm sure Honourable Bushi Shabalala, the former mayor of Malutia, which is totally collapsed, wants me to call him out this morning so that we can get into an interaction.
Now you are
very interesting.
Honourable Johnson, withdraw
Okay,
let me, Honourable Shabalala, you are also out of order. Honourable Johnson, just withdraw that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Honourable Johnson, withdraw that condition. The statement that talks about withdraw the statement that talks about Honourable Shabalala.
I withdraw that.
Thank you.
What is your point of order? Please take a seat on the wall.
Speaker, I'm raising a privilege. Is it unparliamentary to state the fact that Honorable Shabalala is a former mayor of Malutia? How is that How unparliamentary to state that the person is a former mayor of Malutia?
Honourable members, number one, you once again questioning my colleague in the House. I hear very well what Honourable Johnson was saying. Honourable members, I warned you, when the presiding officer has ruled, nobody in the House has the right to dispute the ruling. In terms of the rule, I made a ruling about what I heard, Honourable Johnson, and I heard what Honourable Johnson has said about Honourable Shabalala. Proceed, Honourable Johnson.
Your time is up.
Is that the point of order? Okay.
The Honourable Shabalala has certainly stood up. Last things need to check in the whole time. I'm still waiting for you just to be consistent in the way that you manage our name in the previous time. He's done more than 3 times. He still keeps on doing it. But you just let him go. Where's the consistency in that?
No, you are not telling the truth to say I let him go. I kept calling him to order. You are misleading everybody here. I kept calling him to order.
And then some stage you believe later when it's right that time.
No, I will tell. I will do whatever I have to do when the time arrives, but not I
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, I want to remind members of this House of the words of Edmund Burke, who said that, and I quote, "All that is required for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing." Close quote. ANC members who keep quiet while they're aware of looting and plundering are not good people. They can only be evil. Similarly, people who vote for the ANC while they and their children are unemployed, while they live in sewage and refuse, and while potholes have isolated their towns from economic development are part of the problem. Honourable Speaker, cognitive dissonance is blaming apartheid for the decay and destruction of our provincial roads network, while money is being reallocated to other provinces due to the inability of the Free State ANC-run provincial government to submit the necessary business plans to the national government, then to ridicule the DA's successful pothole fixing policies in the Western Cape. Cognitive dissonance is to talk about cost-cutting measures and then to spend 4.4 million rand on a soap event and 2.7 million rand on an ego-boosting provincial budget speech event while many of our people in the Free State remain hungry. Speaker, this is worse than a psychological order. This is criminal extravagance. Cognitive dissonance is for the ANC members of this legislature to dishonestly deny the successes of DA-run opposition governments while the president of the country, who is also the ANC president, stood outside of a burning parliament in DA-run city of Cape Town and in the DA-run Western Cape and honestly made the following comments, and I quote, "We do have one city that works. We do have a